Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, civilians. I hope y'all are doing well. We are almost done with the first quarter of the year. I can't believe it. Now, y'all, I've been slacking heavy. And then to top it off, my laptop is acting up. So I don't have my normal setup. I'm on my desktop right now. I don't have my intro. I don't have, anyway. Um, yeah, it's been a minute. I know I need to get back in the swing of things for sure. I've the first part of the year has kind of been a little bit lax for me, but I know I need to step my game up for sure. But we are gathered here today, y'all, because we're gonna be talking about the Jess Hilarious and Loren Lorosa, the whole Breakfast Club beef, quote unquote. We at this point we've heard all the tea. So what my focus on is going to be is honestly, this whole thing to me was just a master class between somebody that has a corporate background and somebody that doesn't, and a little bit of being insecure, thinking that your spot was safe, and you go on vacation, you come back, and low key, high key, the person who was covering for you is doing the job a little better, and that's kind of put you in a precarious situation. So let me just say this: uh, Lauren LaRosa absolutely did it was a master class in how she handled Jess Hilarious. They finally talked about it on air, which I commend them for, because I feel like that's necessary, right? Because you don't want it to just be like, oh, we love each other. It's not this, it's not that. In watching that, and y'all know Breakfast Club do not play, so please do not expect for me to put any clips up in here or anything like that. I don't even want to chance it with them. But just having them talk, Lauren was kind of like, as your producer, you're a talent, and Jess was very much in her emotions and in her feelings, and Lauren was bringing it back to the main thing being the main thing. So as it's been talked about, I guess Jess was in her feelings. She did a live because she felt like her coworkers didn't have her back, essentially, when people are talking, crazy about her. And y'all know, Jess came to the Breakfast Club after a search for Angela Yee, who was a long time staple female on the Breakfast Club. It was three of them: Charlemagne, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee. And Angela Yee had her segments. After about 10 years, I think, Angela decided to go in a different direction. So there became a search, because I do not think that you need to have, more than the two men. And I think we all can agree that the two of them by themselves could not carry the show. So they absolutely needed to add a third. So they had, different people come in and test it, and just, won the job. Ultimately, she did the best out of all of them. So she started the job early 2024, and then, either was pregnant or got pregnant. I'm assuming she was pregnant, because she came back from maternity leave in November. So she started the job early 2024, I think March or something like that. Anyway, during that her maternity leave, apparently she was the one that recommended Lauren LaRosa to be to cover her until she came back from maternity leave. So when Jess comes back, I think there was a glaring difference. Even when she was out, you could see the flow of and this is me not really, like, it's been a long time since I followed the Breakfast Club religiously. So, but just on segments, you could see the difference between the two individuals. You could tell who was experienced, who was fluid, and who was not. So when Jess got in her feelings, on live, and basically talked about, how she was the one that pulled in Lauren, and this, that, and the third. I don't want to rehash it, because I feel confident at this point that everybody has gotten the whole gist, and because I don't want to lose the focus of the points that I want to make in this video. Now, So I decided, I said, well, let me look up Miss, La Rosa. We all are familiar with Jess Hilarious because she started off on the internet, and that's the beauty of the internet and social media these days, that you can literally pop off without having to go through any kind of channels, to do that. And she did. She's a comedian, and she, while and out have done different things. She goes on the road, and so she got this opportunity, and I think that she got comfortable. I think she didn't feel like she felt like she was safe. She felt like she didn't have anything to worry about. I feel like she probably selected Miss Lauren because she didn't think that Lauren would be competition for her. Now, again, I got back to where I said, okay, I was just curious. I want to look up Miss Lauren. Baby, I looked this young lady up, and first of all, I felt old because she graduated from college on the 10th year of me graduating from college. So she's a good smooth 10 years younger than I am, but very accomplished. But what really stuck out to me is that on the first page of her the first page of the results, when you look her up, is she has a LinkedIn. And I said, "Oh, she has a LinkedIn." So I proceeded to sashay myself over to her LinkedIn, and I'm reading her credits. First of all, this girl was producer for 7 years with TMZ. We all know that TMZ ain't no small fish. She has done things with BT. She has done things with different like this. Loren Lorosa ain't nobody to be playing with. She ain't no slouch. She is not somebody for you to take lightly or think that you don't have anything to worry about if you take a day off, because she is clearly, like, she is leaps and bounds more experienced, significantly more experienced than Jess Hilarious in this arena. Jess Hilarious is absolutely, comparing her to Lauren, she is boxing out of her weight class. Absolutely, without question, unequivocally, if I'm just being so transparent. So I'm looking at this, and you can tell who is corporate and who is hood. Now, people like to think that when you're corporate, i.e., you work in an office, that kind of structure, that kind of setting, that you're not about that life, that you don't understand, you not really, down with the streets, the hood, you're not really in tune with things. And um let me tell you something. If you really want to test your gangster, if you really want to know if you bout it for real, go work in a corporation. Work, I don't care if you have entrepreneurial aspirations, whatever your aspirations are, do like you a good 18 months to 24 months, 2 years in a corporate environment. Minimum 2 years corporate in a corporate environment, and you're going to find out real quick that you need to know how to move in a room full of vultures. You're going to find out real quick how to tell somebody off, aka cuss them out, without using any profanity. You There's so many things that a corporate structure builds in you that you cannot substitute for outside of actually going through the experience. And this situation here really just highlighted that, in my viewpoint, in my opinion. So Jess is in her feelings. She's venting. Basically, she's talking about her coworkers like they're her friends. Now, we all know corporate 101. Ain't nobody at the job your friend. They're not required to have your back. They're not required to stick up for you. They're not required to do anything that could jeopardize their situation. That's not how that works. I don't care. I know we hear about, office, work wife, work husband. Listen, at the end of the day, you're going to keep things close to the vest, because I don't care how much you get along with people, you cannot open yourself up all the way or expect people to have your back as if they are your day ones or your friends. Now, when they finally hashed it out, I really appreciated because Lauren was like, "Listen, we ain't gotta be friends outside of here. We do have to work together, so we do need to be able to communicate with each other and watch how we talk with one another, right?" Which is the case. How many of us work with people that we don't care for? You wouldn't, spit on them if they were on fire, or you wouldn't go out to happy hour with them. You wouldn't do none of those things. But when you're there to do a job, you're there to do a job. I think that Lauren brought out some insecurities with Jess that, as everybody, when you're in a corporate environment, there has to be there has to be an elevation. There has to be growth that happens with within that experience. You have to be able to see. My very first real adult job, like about a couple years outside of college, was a global company, global flooring, ceiling, cabinet company in my hometown where I grew up. And that being my that was being my first experience in a corporate environment. Y'all give me a minute because I done literally lost where I was trying to go with this. Yes, I'm back. I went in there 20 something. I was mid 20s. You go in there because y'all know we were sold the dream of, go to college, graduate, the world's your oyster, and then you get out of college, and then you're dealing with the real world, right? So there has to be a maturation that happens. You cannot stay the same. You have to always be looking for how to improve. And this company that I'm talking about, they required two process improvement a year, required two. And that's not only that you suggest the idea, but that it is also implemented. They require two process improvement a year from each employee. And sometimes it used to be a pain to come up with those ideas, but you had the idea was, better, faster, stronger together. That was like our mantra. And the idea is that everybody putting hands together to make the work environment flow and function. And it's I've never worked anywhere else where that's been implemented. And I just think that it is absolutely genius. Now, I don't think that it should be required per se, or you should have to do too. I think that, you should, but it was an awesome experience. I say all that to say this: as great as Jess Hilarious is as what she does, I think what Lauren has presented her with is a mirror that says, "Oh, you're not quite where you are is not going to be enough for you to stay in the space that you've graduated to." Right, because this is the next progression. This is like corporate media that Jess Hilarious is a part of. And she can say some things that'll get her in trouble, like what she said about like the sheiks, and then what she said about the little boy, that the little 13-year-old that had the brain cancer, that was at the first State of the Union address. So she has a tendency to put her foot in her mouth in the environment that she is in. That needs to be curtailed. That is a corporate environment. She's not just on her IG or on her YouTube or whatever. That is a corporate environment. Lauren's background is pretty much all corporate, in terms of like everything. She's worked for corporations. So she has been in an environment where you have to know how to not let people know what your weaknesses are, where you have to be able to take things on the chin when it is feasible and reasonable to do so. You have to be able to adjust and adapt. You have to be able to see how you can improve yourself. And just whether she likes it or not, and I think she comes across as being a little resistant, just because it's kind of like basically, who was Lauren to be trying to talk to her? It's her job. Like, even during that exchange they had, she kept, "It's my job. Like, where am I?" I'm like, "Baby, you not guaranteed that that's your job." That show has always just had three people, two men and one woman. They don't need to have two women. They don't need to have two women for it to be able to function. And if you keep this up, it's going to be very easy to know that you keep Lauren. You keep Lauren. So Jess has let her slip show in this whole situation, and she needs to mature if she's going to last in a corporate environment. I think people really underestimate. This is why you can have rappers that are from the hood and they get into the record industry, not just rappers, artists, whatever, and they get into the record industry and they get got because they're going in there with a hood mentality and they're not going in there with a corporate. They're not switching. There's this with the hood mentality. It's kind of like this code. You ride or die for each other. You know no, no snitching. All of these things. We're in a corporate environment. Every man for himself. Not that you can't find environments where people don't care, but the more aggressive, the more higher upper echelon corporate environments. Every man for themselves. Now, I'm gonna say this, and some of y'all may feel away, but we need to be very, very real about this. We as women don't have the luxury, especially when we're in certain jobs. In my opinion, I'm not saying that Jess shouldn't have had her baby. Obviously, I don't even believe in that. She got pregnant. You had the baby. She went in that job long enough to take no maternity leave. She hadn't gotten her feet grounded. I really do believe that she was pregnant when she accepted the job. I don't think she got pregnant after. I think that she was pregnant before, and then she accepted the job, and then I guess made that announcement and then took the maternity leave. I don't think that was a good move. Now I looked up this. I was just curious to look up this young man, whoever her child's father is, and it says that he's the CEO of a trucking company. Now, no tea, no shade. I'm not trying to. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know him. I'm not trying to disparage anything that he has going on, but if you've listened to me at any point at all, I am not a fan of having children outside of marriage. So sorry, I said it. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of a woman putting her body in danger and her life. Every time you have a child, you literally have one foot in the living world and one foot in the other world. It is a grueling thing to put your body through, and you're doing that for somebody who won't even give you their last name. Like, what are the chances? He's her second baby's father. And I think I saw something about they started dating like maybe 2023. Like, you just got this job. You already knew that you would be interested in it because you had been tested, and Jess was really one of the ones that they brought back a lot. If I'm being honest, out of the pool, they brought her a lot. She seemed to vibe really well with the guys. So I think that it was not a good move to put herself in a position where she would need to take maternity leave so soon doing this job. So for her sake, I hope that it was worth it in terms of if it works out with this gentleman. So that's another knock to her, in my opinion. And she's insecure. She's going to have to humble herself because there is a lot that she can learn from Loren in terms of how to conduct yourself in a corporate environment. Lauren knows who she is and what she brings to the table, and she's humble in that she doesn't necessarily overtly try to throw that in Jess's face, but it is clear that she is good with her accomplishments and her abilities, and that really she can take her ball and go home if it gets all rah rah. She understands that from her professional understanding that they could really make history and do something great with having these two women be with these two men and it be all good. And she needs Jess to keep her head in the game, but you can't talk to me crazy. I hope Jess does not mistake the fact that Lauren is professional for the fact that she may be some kind of punk that you can just talk to kind of crazy. I think even in that exchange, like, Lauren was like, listen, I don't want this to go left, essentially. I don't want this to go left. So we really gotta, even we gotta talk things out. We gotta, know how to conduct ourselves here. Even during that conversation, Lauren was still trying to produce Jess. So it was just not a good move what Jess did. It really wasn't. It really was not a good move. Corporate is not for the weak. Corporate is not for the weak. Jess Hilarious, you are talented. Learn as much as you can from Loren. And y'all, this ain't being fake because I know people that's being fake. You're not keeping it real. A lot of people have out here are struggling, can't pay bills because they kept it too real on somebody's job instead of just doing their daggone job. Focus on your focus. Learn what you can from this girl. Improve yourself. The people say that your reading is a little tough to follow. Work on that. Actually humble yourself and go to her and ask her to help you. Ask her to help you because if you put yourself in a position where they have to pick either you or her, you might be very, very surprised and very hurt by the choice they have to make. And of course, Charlemagne always wants to make jokes because he's a child and can't take anything seriously. But I really do hope that these young they move past it. It looks like they can move past it, but Jess needs to mature and really needs to learn how to comport herself in a corporate environment. So y'all, I'm gonna leave it there for now. I'm actually recording this video on Canva. It's my first time doing this on Canva because I'm able to access it on my desktop. So hopefully everything works and it I might be doing this from here on out using Canva. I don't know. I need to figure out my whole setup. But until next time, y'all, have a happy Monday.